All right, all right, all right. Here we go.
Yeah, another episode or show of Bitcoin Brodie and the Crypto Cadets. I'm Bill Shaltima, relationship coach and crypto newbie, and Jeff is our in-house authority on anything that deals with cryptocurrency. And we join together to do these little shows for you and to educate you on what it means to be an investor in the cryptocurrency space. So, Jeff, how you doing? Nice to see you
I'm
again.
doing very good. Thanks, Bill. And I enjoy doing our conversations here together and giving our viewers some Bitcoin basics. I think it's excellent.
Yeah,
I've really been enjoying sharing our knowledge and just
yeah,
having these conversations together.
yeah.
Today we're going to have maybe a slightly longer conversation. Could be we might have a 30-minute episode today. We'll give it a go and see where we end up.
Yep.
As always, this is entertainment and educational information, and we hope that you gain some insight from it. Nothing here is meant to be investment advice.
So. Excellent.
Okay, so we're ready to dig in.
Okay, so basically, what we're going to talk about when we're talking about investing, we're talking about our money. We're talking about our hard-earned money for those of us that are newbies or even the seasoned veterans like yourself, but it's still money that you've worked for and earned. And there's usually, a level of emotion attached to that. So whenever you're taking whatever amount that you're happy with, whether it's 100, 1,000, 10,000, you're going to place it on a coin, Bitcoin or Ethereum or maybe Litecoin. There's an emotion that goes along with that decision to send money to an exchange that you've decided you feel safe with, you feel is legitimate, it's registered, you've done all of your due diligence to research an exchange to make sure that they are legitimate. And hopefully you've joined a group like Crypto Canada, which is on Facebook, a private group of people in Canada and outside of Canada that want to know more about cryptocurrency and to be in that space. And so once that money's out of our bank account, we've made that e-transfer or deposit, and it's going to start doing its thing. There's an emotional hit that we do experience. I know I felt it when I first began doing it. And I want you to, speak to that for a minute, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's talking about, whether it's $100 or more when you're transferring the money and you go on, you've vetted the exchange, you've done things, you've provided your customer information. So that's where there's a requirement for exchanges in North America to have you provide information. So they may ask you for government ID, like a driver's license, passport, your address, and to validate that you are who you say you are. Now, you've gone and done this, and you've done that. You've hit that transfer.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing an e-transfer, right? So we know about e-transfers is that you go into your bank and you put in the information. So they give you the name of the email recipient for the e-transfer. Maybe they give you a code that you can match against. I know. So for instance, Banxa is another internet gateway provider. So they give you a code and a password to enter, so they lock it against your account. Now, what happens is you click send, and then you go to your exchange and you watch for the receipt of that money.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, "Where is it?"
Yeah.
An hour later, where is it?
Yeah.
3 hours later, where is it?
Yeah.
And then it's Friday afternoon. You're trying to you're excited to get in on a weekend trade because the trend is moving in a direction. So you want to get in before, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I had this exact scenario play out in January for me. It was a big move.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, what's going on? Right.
Yeah.
And I check on my site with my bank, no issue. Transfer, the money's gone. It's out of my account.
Yeah.
I go on the other side, check. Nope, it's not there. So I take the code and I email support, and I get back a response. We're having higher than normal activity. We're trying to get through this as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Basically, too much traffic.
Yeah.
And the big thing that, talk about an emotional swing. Like if you, like the maximum you can do on an e-transfer is $3,000.
Yeah.
So if you've drained your bank account of that $3,000, you can't, the other thing, like you can't, even if you had more money, you can't make another transfer for another 24 hours because 3,000 is the max 24-hour amount you can spend. So you start getting these emotions, right? And I decided, a few years ago that it wasn't, if it's outside of my control, there's no sense getting angry.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm only getting angry at myself, with myself, by myself.
Yeah.
And, so I eventually get a email back saying, we need additional information. So they needed me to print out a piece of paper, write down the transaction number, write down my email address, write down a special code, hold the paper up, hold my passport up, do a selfie, and send it in.
Yeah.
And eventually, 3 days later, I got the money.
Yeah.
And after that, I didn't have any issue. But it was going through that emotion of, one, I'm going to miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. 2, am I ever going to get my money back?
Yeah.
Right. And 3, did I miss the big trade opportunity? Well, the universe always has a way of supporting me that there was a reversal. Right. So Bitcoin did a pump up and then did a drop. So that was when there was all that selling dumping pressure so it was okay. Right. Yeah. So it's actually the universe was supporting me and preventing me from taking a higher position and then having to wait it out.
Yeah. It's interesting, you bring up some good points that there is a bigger picture to all the things that we do on this earth, right? And, the things that we see in their immediate moments are just a small piece to that bigger picture, and having patience and trusting and believing, not only in the process of the transferring and the banks doing their thing, and then the exchange doing their thing, but also within ourselves, that we trust ourselves, because, self-doubt can really kick in really quickly, especially if we've had some bad experiences with money in our past.
Yeah.
And then, because one of the first things that came to my mind was, what kind of emotions, if that was me in the story that you're telling, is, what kind of emotions would I have? And it would be, not believing in myself, thinking, man, I just made a stupid decision. I should never have done this. This whole idea of this whole Bitcoin thing, it's crazy. It's too much for me. I can't do it. And so, there's that fear can really set in really hard and get a grip of you. And, one of the things we learn, as all investors should learn, is patience.
Yes.
There's the hodl, hold on for dear life, having diamond hands, and not to be so quick to have knee-jerk reactions in this thing that we're doing called cryptocurrency. And it really comes to, and here we're talking about investing, but here we're talking also about understanding, knowing who we are and what we can handle emotionally and mentally, because you do something like that, you can lose nights of sleep. You can lose your appetite, it can affect your health, physically as well. And so you need to be somehow detached from that, but also in a place where, you have peace. Yes. And you have that level of assurance that things are going to be okay, as looking at it in a bigger picture.
Yeah, it's the big thing is that when you do something and you start getting down on yourself, it'll take your mood away.
Yeah.
It'll show up in your family relationships.
Yeah.
And none of this is good.
Yeah.
And that's part of the, you bring up a really good point about that. It's like, if you lose sleep and you're not having fun at this,
Yeah.
you really need to ask yourself, is it the right place for you to be? Right.
Mhm.
And it's, this is the big thing, is that cryptocurrency is a speculative market, right?
Yeah.
As
Mhm.
is the stock market is a speculative market, as is foreign exchange is a speculative market, as is,
Yeah.
like if you're dealing in precious metals, it's all speculative,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so it's coming out with the amounts of money that you feel comfortable with.
Mhm.
If you lost it, I mean, at one time I lost $100. It was devastating.
Yeah.
Today, if I lose $100, it's kind of like, if I pulled out my wallet and $100 drops out on the floor because I didn't put the money in my wallet and I don't notice it and walk away,
Yeah.
right? And then when I go to get the money and I realize it's gone, it's kind of like, oh, I'm disappointed,
Yeah.
right? And that's about it. I'm
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in myself, and it's that looking in the mirror, realizing
Mhm.
I'm the only one who had the responsibility for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully the person who finds the money needed it more than I did at the time.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And to add to that, like you mentioned relationships, if you're doing this kind of on the sly, you're not really being forthcoming as to what you're doing and what you're putting into this because you're excited, and your sweetheart or your significant other may not be fully on board, doesn't understand it. And she finds you did what? You spent how much money? you know so it's always good to have open communication, always talk about why you're doing it, and to do some educating so that there can be then support too, right? Because that's the whole point of being in a relationship. So that's another big thing too, is communicating when you're in a relationship and money is kind of, you're using each other's money to run your household, and you want to
Yeah.
go off and do something. There needs to be full disclosure, and what your incentive is, and um what's your purpose for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was a time where I was not being, I wasn't evading anything. I just wasn't talking about what I was doing from investing.
Yeah.
And I had my stock portfolio and my tax-free savings account, and I had my cryptocurrency.
Hmm.
And it's just that, you know, I didn't feel a need to bring it up and discuss it. Well, what I realized is that things are going along such that they are, that I needed to bring this up, have a discussion, because it's going to be a tax discussion,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So I don't want to be here in a year from today with this big surprise. Oh, by the way,
Yeah, we owe X amount of dollars to the government.
yeah, and part of it is, here's the upside of why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and we still have income coming in. Things are all, bills are taken care of. Everybody's happy and comfortable,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to build my retirement fund, right? I went
Hmm.
through severe arthritis in both my hips, had double hip replacement surgery in 2018, 2019, 4 months
Wow.
back to back.
Hmm.
And leading up to that, I basically had decided that I needed to spend the money out of my retirement fund, right?
Hmm.
So I did that because we had a lifestyle. I still had a child that was going to Montessori, and I had money to pay for that, and there was all these other bills and
Hmm.
everything. And I was at a point where I was in so much discomfort that I said, "Hey, I'm going to spend my retirement money." So here
Yeah.
I am now, 4 years later, on the mend, feeling a lot better,
Yeah.
have a clear head. I'm happier, and going, okay, I want to replenish that
Yeah.
which I used.
Mm.
So, and at 56 years old, I'm getting closer to, I'd like to take an extended vacation sometime soon.
Awesome. Yeah, and you're bike riding too when you can. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, and
Really.
the bike riding, has been amazing. It's like I've only been riding my bike again for the last week, and it makes a big difference. It frees up the hips and it gets the tendons in the legs moving. So it's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. 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 So I guess, we talk these videos are about helping beginners enter the cryptocurrency, investing in Bitcoin. And here we're talking about emotions and relationships, because I don't think often many people consider those things. And even on a lot of the YouTube videos I have watched, it isn't really talked about or discussed. And I think one of the reasons why we enjoy talking about this is because we understand how important it is to be emotionally healthy, to have emotional intelligence, to understand the feelings that we're feeling and where that's coming from, and to really know what you're in. I want to use the word intention, but there's another word that escapes me. But what's your motive? That's the word I'm looking for. What's your motive for wanting to do this? And is it out of greed? Is it out of fear? And if it is fear, where is that fear coming from? If it's greed, where is that coming from? And there can be a lot of really deep inner reflection while you go through the processes of watching your Bitcoin rise and watching others drop, your altcoins drop, and along with it being fun. And I've done some, I have a TFSA as well that I used a few years ago. I don't use it anymore because I'm doing this. As I told myself going in, do not get emotionally connected to the money, and only put in what you know that you can handle, what you can lose and not lose sleep over. So I already learned that, and practiced that, regularly. And so going into this, I knew that I would be okay, because it's almost, from my perspective, it almost is like playing like a game, like a PC world game where you have money, you have to pull money in, you have to make money, and so it almost is like that for me.
Yeah.
And so that kind of knocks off any emotional hit I might feel when it drops, because I know it's going to come back up. And I've gone through a few of those already, and I'm at my 2-month mark, I think, now.
Yeah.
And so it's been really good. I've been careful. I've been, learning. You've been so fantastic with educating not only myself personally, but also, on the Crypto Canada and Crypto Canada questions and answers group. So so valuable to so many people. And so that's why we're talking about these things, because you will feel these emotions, and you will feel like the rug is being pulled up from under you, and that your world is falling apart when things aren't going as you picture them. Because we do create, I know I'm rambling a bit, but we do create a picture in our mind, a story as to how this is all going to go. I'm going to put $100 into Bitcoin, and in about 6 months it's going to be up to 10,000, and you have all these beautiful images of what's going to happen. But when it doesn't play out, we have these expectations of outcomes, and when they don't come to how we have pictured them, we feel like we've made a big mistake. We begin to fear that what we're doing is wrong, and we begin to doubt.
Yeah, and that's, unmet expectations is the root of many deteriorations of any relationship, especially the relationship with your investing in money.
Yeah.
How many times have I heard an investor said, I sold that coin and yesterday, and today it went up.
Yeah.
Right. And this is about patience.
Yeah.
And, to talk a little bit about when you've done your research, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can go to coingecko.com, coinmarketcap.com. You take a look at the coin, you take a look at coin, like those two sites are amazing. They'll tell you the history of the coin, and you can look at how it's been trading in it'll tell you the last 24 hours, last 7 days, last 30 days, 90 days, last year. So you can get a view of what the trading has been. It'll tell you what we call the market cap, and the market cap or market capitalization is the value that the coin is trading at today, multiplied by the circulating supply. And that, so for instance, you take Bitcoin, it's trading at $59,000 US, 75,000 Canadian, and you multiply that by the circulating supply of Bitcoin, and that will give you the $1 trillion market cap. And then there's something that's called, the overall maximum capitalization takes the maximum quantity of coins that can be available at any given time. So the maximum coins of Bitcoin is 21 million, right? So you would take what the coin is trading at and you would multiply it by the 21 to come up with the max market capitalization.
Right.
So that's when someone is saying, hey, this coin, it's going to 100 times. Well, you have to take a look at the market cap of the coin, multiply it by 100 and say, if nobody knows this coin, is the value of the coin going to displace Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So not very likely, right? Yeah. And so these are the things that we need to look at. And what's going to happen is we sold that position. We sold that position to take another position, right? So there's this thing. Okay, so Bill had brought up fear and greed. So there is actually a fear and greed index. If you Google fear and greed index, you could look fear and greed index cryptocurrency, fear greed index stocks, commodities. Like you can look at these fear and greed. So you get into these positions. So fear is when the market is dropping, the market's bearish, so people are fearful, and greed is when everybody is thinks that it's going to go to the moon. We're gonna moon. We're gonna moon. I'm gonna be rich tomorrow. Where's my Lambo? So we look at all these things, and then we say, okay, this is where sometimes it's like we've made a plan. I want to make X number of dollars by this date, right? So September of this year, I want to make $30,000. Say. And so I got my investment in, and I've been investing in Bitcoin. And then I decided, hey, I've been in this for 3 months. I'm looking at these other altcoins, and these altcoins are doing things, and they're doing much better than Bitcoin. So I'd like to move over into that. Right? So now you move some money into an altcoin. Maybe you've done research on coin like, it could be Ethereum you've learned about. It could be Litecoin. It could be Polkadot. I could go on and name a whole bunch of different altcoins. So you go and look at these, and you have a feeling based on the research, and maybe you're listening to other social influencers, you're reading the news, and you're thinking, hey, this is a really good opportunity for this project. You put your money into it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you have a long-term view for that money, meaning that if it's going to double when, so it's like if you're investing $1,000 and you want to make $30,000, I don't know if it's realistic, to have that by September.
Yeah.
Right. You need to be a full-time investor, and you need to be doing that regularly, to figure this out and to leverage and do all of these things. So part of it is it's about making certain that your goals are realistic, right?
Yeah.
It comes into SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, results oriented, and time based, right? SMART goals, and so we always want to make sure they're realistic. At least we feel is realistic. Not necessarily what someone else feels is realistic.
Yeah.
Right. Because we might put our $10,000 into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up 3 times in value. It's trading at 180,000 US. We've made our $30,000 by September. Right. If we had that discussion with someone else, they might think it's unrealistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we've done our research. We understand what's going on in the market, and we think, no, that's very realistic. Right.
Yeah.
So I think these are the things that, when we're doing this investment, is be very specific with our plan. And then every time that, so today I removed half my position in a coin I had. I use the coin market cap portfolio tracker, but one of the things I miss in that is it doesn't show me what the average of my coin cost is. It shows me what it's trading at today, but it doesn't show me I made these purchases. As the coin goes up, I do dollar cost averaging, which means I just buy at different, I take different entry points.
Yeah.
So it means that maybe I bought a token at 4 cents. I bought it at 12 cents. I bought it at 18 cents. I bought it at 26 cents, and
Yeah.
it's gone to 50 cents. What's my actual cost and how much profit do I have?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, when I'm looking at the coins, I don't know. So it's like today I went and I started looking at the individual purchases and what prices I recorded them at.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm going to take 50% out of this position. And I'm going to put it into a stable coin.
Yeah.
So like USDT. So it's called Tether. You could also use a stable coin like USDC. That's Coinbase's stable coin. You could put it in BUSD, which is Binance stable coin. And a stable coin means that the market can go up and down, but you're going to have your dollar is tied to the US dollar.
Right.
Right. So, and part of it is I'm learning how to become unemotional in taking profits, because what would happen to me is I see the price going up and that fear that I'm going to miss out.
Yeah.
If I sell and take profit, I'm missing out, right? Because I've got a lofty goal and I've got a specific time frame and I'm feeling the pressure. So what I've realized now is that, you know, I listen to the other OGs, the old guys, right? Talk about the guys have been around for 2 or 3 market cycles.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, you know, the reason that you're taking your profits isn't to cash out, right? Taking profits does trigger a taxable event. So if you've had a gain or a loss on that coin, it puts you in a tax position for this tax year, which you'll file next year.
Yeah.
Right? But it puts you in a position to have cash on hand. So if there's a reversal, a dip, so for instance, Bitcoin started taking a little bit of a dip today. You know, if I have 5 or 10% of my overall portfolio sitting in cash, it puts me in a really good position to be able to buy. You know, what would happen to me is that I'm maximizing every nickel into every coin.
Yeah.
And I'm refusing to take profits. And, you know, lo and behold, Bitcoin goes from $60,000 to $41,000. Well, I can't buy because I'm so locked up in all these projects that I didn't leave myself any liquidity. It's, you know, it's like we do with our, you know, on our weekly, monthly paycheck when, you know, maybe when we were younger, when we were living pay to pay, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, not having the rainy day fund. So I think part of it is that, you know, with your strategy, when you start taking profits as the coins go up, being able to, maybe it's not taking your whole investment out, but taking pieces out as it goes up, because we know that you're going to hit a point where there's going to be correction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you learn technical analysis, you can actually take a look at the way the charts are moving and predict what the rise might be before the correction. It doesn't mean it's going to be right. Because there's all kinds of external influences that come in, like whales. You know, a whale in Bitcoin term is anybody who holds 1,000 Bitcoin or more in a single wallet. Yeah. You know, I'm almost thinking, hey, if you own more than 10 Bitcoin, you're a whale, right?
Yeah, exactly. No kidding. What I wanted to interject actually while you were talking about that, and I think this is a good hint, is when you want to have money to buy Bitcoin, and this goes to your dilemma when you were moving money and it wasn't showing up, is that if you're going to e-transfer money into an exchange, when you start seeing the trend going up and you know that there's going to be a surge of other people doing the same thing, that's going to slow down your e-transfer. Having some money in your wallet, your fiat side of your wallet, kind of sitting there ready to go, will put you in a much better position to jump on that much quicker, because I think that is more of an instant purchase, right? Because you're not waiting for your Interact to come in, and you can actually do something right then and there. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's something to think about looking forward, that when you're excited, when you see the Bitcoin or any other coin going up, you're not the only one. There's thousands upon thousands of other people are watching it. And if they're on the same exchange as you and they all decide, I'm going to throw in 500 or $1,000 right now, and other people are, that's going to bottleneck and slow everything down. So always have something. I have a little bit in one of my exchanges just for Bitcoin when it starts to drop down a bit, and I'll throw some back in. I'll purchase some then. So I think that's something, a nice handy tip for a beginner, because I know on Crypto Canada, so many people have said, I've been waiting for days, and it was likely due to the fact that there was just a bottleneck in the network.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it exactly. I mean, there's so many things that are coming into play with moving money in and out of your banks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get flagged by security, and the challenges with the banks is that they're not telling you it's a security flag. What I loved about when I did my first banks transfer with, um, with the international exchange that I work on, um, they called my house. It was TD security calling. There's been a transaction for $3,000,
Mm-hmm.
and then I checked my cell phone and I got a text message, and all I had to do on my text message was reply yes,
Yeah.
and I was able to redo the transaction.
Yeah.
So the thing to understand is that the bank security is doing their job to protect us,
Yeah.
right? And that may disappoint us at times, right? What
Yeah.
disappoints me the most is when there's no communications, right?
Yeah.
And Tangerine, a zero cost banking system that's now part of the CIBC, or no, Scotiabank.
Yeah.
It used to be, Desjardins, so now it's Scotiabank.
Yeah.
Well, the transfer was blocked, but when I called up and spoke to the call center, oh, we don't see any reason. I'm going, okay, can you put me through to the security department? Well, we have no way of contacting them. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. That's terrible.
So eventually I was able to get it cleared and get it through. And then I had made like 6 transfers of maximum amounts a week to put money in to the exchange. And then my account got locked out on a Friday night.
Oh.
I'm trying to go in and I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. It's like, because I was doing transfers between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And the reason I was doing that was that the money would show up in minutes.
Yeah.
Right. You do it in the middle of the day when everybody in North America is doing these transfers. It's going to take a long time. You do it like at 1 a.m. to 5 to 6 a.m. in the morning. There's very little traffic and they go through fast, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
So only Saturday morning, I get a phone call from Tangerine security department, and they just had me verify everything for my account that it was me. And then we talked about the security issue. And then I was very specific to say, just clear all transactions that I'm doing, for this. I didn't specifically say it was Bitcoin investing or cryptocurrency investing. I just said, I'm sending money to this address. It's fine. I'm doing transfers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I want all future transfers approved. And they go, yeah, okay, we put that in. We flagged it. Everything's good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's like hung up the phone, boom, my transfer went through.
Yeah. And away you go.
So, we don't always get that. We don't always get that simplicity with our banks.
No.
The banks and governments protect us, and sometimes I don't think we're all too appreciative of the level of protection we get.
Yeah. And, I've never had a problem with any of my transfers. So, I've been very fortunate, and I've always, whenever I do the transfer, I make sure, double check, triple check my information's good. So it's not an issue on my end. But yeah, I've had money showing up within minutes. Others been like an hour, knowing that it was likely because of the time and everyone else was on. So yeah, I think that's something to be aware of. And this will definitely be a trial in patience and learning patience. That is for sure.
Absolutely. The big thing about this is that things that are outside of our control,
Mm-hmm.
we have to accept. Because there isn't anything that we can do at the moment to change
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Once we understand what it is, we can then take future actions that are different. Right?
Mm-hmm. To come up with a different outcome.
So there's that's it. And the big thing is when we make those trades and the coin goes up, it's like you'll catch the next one.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I'm in this trading group and I get this signal that, oh, this coin has gone up 60%.
Yeah.
So I hop on over and I FOMO in, fear of missing out, buy in.
Mm-hmm.
It goes up a little bit more and then it tanks, right? So then I'm down 20% on the position because I caught it on the upswing.
Yeah. Too late in the swing. Yeah.
That's emotions. That's emotions, right?
Oh,
and
for
so
sure.
part of it is we know in the long term I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because I believe in the project. I've done the research and it's like, yeah. So it comes down to if you miss the first swing, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Because it will hit a cap and it's going to retract. It is going to retract. How far it'll retract, I don't know. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I went in and when I looked at the peak, I went in probably at 70% of the climb and it went up, another 30% and then it dropped 50%. So it put me in that position where I could have bought more of the project for, I could have bought 20% less.
Yeah.
So what I did was I dollar cost average. I went in and I bought some more at the lower price.
Yeah.
And then it dropped further and I went in and I bought some more at the lower price. So I'm doing the dollar cost averaging.
Yeah.
And, I know that in the next 4 or 5 weeks, it's going to have a recovery. We're entering into one of the most bullish and most exciting periods in cryptocurrency space. This is called altcoin season.
Right.
Now you can Google altcoin season.
Yeah.
And you can find some sites and graphs that explain what it is. And what altcoin season means is that when Bitcoin stops going vertical and it's been tracking along and it's doing this, it's kind of got this oscillation pattern to it.
Yeah.
It's going up to $62,000. It's dropping down to $51,000. And so it's oscillating in that 20% band. Investors like you and me and you, the viewing audience, we get bored because once we've had a taste of a coin, like even if we put $100 in and it went up one time, like if it went up 100%, 200%, 300%, 400%, we catch the bug.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's for sure.
Then it's like, well, I bought that coin 3 weeks ago and it tripled in value. Now we're looking for the next one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The key is that to understand is we don't make any money until we sell our position. So if a coin goes up 3 or 4 times, take some profits. Take if it went up 4 times, take 25% out because you're taking your initial investment. Take 50% out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you build your stash of stable coin or fiat to be able to go back into in another position.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good strategy.
Yeah. FOMO, fear of missing out. And,
well,
go ahead.
I've experienced that just reading some of the posts in Crypto Canada when different people talk about this coin that shot up and this coin that I think XRP was one, and they were looking at Turtle, and it's like, whoa, these things are just jumping. And I'm thinking, well, I think I've lost my chance. But then I think, well, wait a minute, that's not part of my plan either. So I shouldn't get too emotionally upset about it or think, oh, darn it, I missed out. I wish I'd done more research or whatever. But it's like, well, I have my position where it is now with Bitcoin and that, and I have a plan. I have my boundaries. This just tells me that other coins will be doing the same thing in the future. These are not the only coins out there. There are new ones that will be coming up and into the future. that'll benefit the whole cryptocurrency market, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the the key with this is that everything will be fine, right?
Yeah.
And the key is that when we start getting into altcoins, I think it's the altcoins that we need to have really clear entry and exit positions defined for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. So that, if you're putting in 20% of your portfolio into altcoins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then whatever altcoins you're getting into, you figure out what your profit strategy is for those altcoins,
Mm-hmm.
and be in a position where I can just sell that altcoin and buy my Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Buy whichever coin that I feel is going to be stable, so that when we enter a bear market, that major downtrend, right? Where do we want our coins? We don't want it to be in an altcoin, one that's pumped 1,000%, because it's going to drop as fast as it came up.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas we know that Bitcoin will see a correction, but how much of a correction Bitcoin will see relative to the to what the altcoins will see will be very different, and it's going to be very different this time because there's large amounts of institutional investors, professional investors, money that are in there, and large corporations.
Yeah.
Right? I was watching Michael Saylor say, hey, once we get $10 trillion in Bitcoin, the coin is going to have stability, right?
Yeah.
So there is a reason for Bitcoin to hit a 10 trillion or a $20 trillion market cap.
Mm-hmm.
And there is possibility that within the next year, we're going to see that.
Wow.
Those are big numbers, and they sound crazy, but because so many organizations are looking at Bitcoin to hedge against inflation.
Yeah.
That's exactly the reason that value is just going to go up and up and up. But at the same time, there will be a correction. So if Bitcoin goes up to $300,000, as some predictions are, it may correct to $180,000. And when it does that, and you're holding it, you don't say I lost $120,000 on my one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You really need to go back and look and say, I bought this Bitcoin and dollar cost average, it cost me $90,000. I doubled my money this run.
Yeah.
Right. So that you're putting into check emotionally what the reality is for your money.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Lambo money, but doubling your investment, tripling your investment in 1 year, 6 months, right? Considering what's the interest rate, Bill, that you were saying you were getting in your savings?
It was embarrassingly low. Like
it's almost 2%? Negative interest.
I know it is. Yeah, your bank savings aren't going to do near that type of energy. And speaking of that, I wanted to bring up also that whatever energy you're bringing into your activities in investing is going to paint your experience. And you want to, check yourself that what is my energy? Is it positive? Is it negative? Am I coming at it with, a good energy? Because if we're always, we attract what we are, how we think. And if we're going into this, with negative energy, then we're going to probably reap more negative energy than what we're expecting. Yeah. And so, that's one last little bit I wanted to share.
Yeah, totally. And it's the same way. It's like if you don't know a project, you don't know a coin, and you've heard people diss the coin, right? It doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's just not the coin for you. It's not the project for you. Hey, I was really negative on Dogecoin. And look at what Elon Musk and the celebrities have done to that. But it's a pump coin, but there is a project underneath it.
Yeah.
And like part of it is do your research yourself. And it's like even with XRP, like so many people, it's like if you bring your energy in and go, oh, XRP, I wouldn't touch that. Well, look at it now.
Yeah.
Right? It's gone up. It's gone up almost 10 times from where it bottomed at earlier this year. So, part of it is that we bring our energy in, be curious. Wow, what if it really did that? Oh, it's not for me. That's okay.
Yeah.
So it's that energy of, curiosity, and the energy of saying, wow, what is it about this project that I don't know about?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
All right. So emotions play such an interesting role
Yeah.
in our daily lives, in our relationships,
Mm-hmm.
both our primary relationships with our family and our friends,
Yeah,
and obviously in our investment and in our lives.
absolutely.
So what are
Absolutely.
the closing words you have for the audience?
Oh boy, closing words. Take a minute to evaluate yourself, do some self-evaluation, and see where your emotions are at. See if you understand the triggers, and begin to pay more attention to them as you're doing your trading, and as you're watching the charts, and as you're reading the posts, and you're watching the videos. Find out where these triggers are coming from, good or bad, and just do a little more self discovery, so that you can go in more confident and understand yourself better. Then you'll be able to understand why you do the things you do.
That's sage advice. Sage advice.
Like,
So this has been an awesome conversation again, Bill. I really enjoyed
yeah,
it.
yeah,
We
me
gave a
too.
little bit of overview on the emotions of investing, the risk, the rewards of it, and also talked a little bit about altcoin season.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was
Well,
fantastic.
yeah, we'll
Thank you.
touch on those things again. Altcoin season. We'll have to talk more on, I think.
All right. Well, thanks
Okay.
everybody. Be sure to do a like to the video, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you'll get
Mhm.
notified of the upcoming videos. And we'll do our best. I think we're going to be speaking on Thursday night.
I believe so. Yeah.
So we've kind of set a schedule for Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And if there's some breaking news come up, we may pop on, and we'll try
Yeah.
to keep it short, but
Yeah.
you never know.
You never know.
All right. Until next
Okay.
time.
Yeah. Until next time. Take care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.